Need the clicker? Right there.
Okay. Ready when you are. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rob Bailey. I am the CEO of DataSift. You can follow me at RMB on Twitter. I wanted to start out with a few questions before I launched into my PowerPoint slides. How many people here have used Twitter to complain or speak well of a product, a company, or a service? Great. How many people have done something like that on Facebook? Cool. How many people here, and just two more questions, how many people here care about their customers? Yeah. How many people think that there's a huge amount of data on social and you're not exactly sure what the hell to do with all of it? Yeah. Okay, there you go. So between all those four questions, we've pretty much explained why DataSift was created and why we exist and kind of sort of a little bit what we do. So if you want to tune out now, you can, but I'm now going to give you a more in-depth explanation of what I mean. So we are a social data platform, not to be confused with an analytics company. We process massive amounts of social data and provide it back out in one easy-to-use API. And we also provide a bunch of really powerful tools like sentiment analysis, gender detection, on top of it to generate more meaning from it and from the data. So I know for some companies, social is sort of kind of more of a new concept, and I think there's a lot of unease of, hey, you need to do something with social. But then we're also getting a lot of questions of, why should I care about social? Why should you care? Because that's where your customers are. Facebook alone has over 900 million users. 20% of time spent online right now, especially in the US, is spent on social. And is providing a radically new way for companies to communicate with their customers, for news to break, et cetera. A quick question, how many of you have heard about a major breaking news story in the last year on Twitter or Facebook before you heard about it on a news network? Yep, me too. Both Osama bin Laden and Whitney Houston. So things happen fast in social. We're actually finding that there's a bunch of leading edge companies that are already starting to aggressively take advantage of social. So that includes Virgin America. I actually used to fly a lot more on United, but Virgin America does such a great job of responding to my questions all the time that I actually probably do a third of my flying with Virgin America right now. And they're definitely a great example of how to manage a brand online. American Express, another fantastic company that is doing some very interesting innovations with our promotions with Foursquare, Twitter, et cetera. And Salesforce, a SaaS-based company that has really aggressively moved into sort of using social in the enterprise. As most of you know, they bought a company called Radian6 last year, which is a leader in the social media monitoring space. One of the interesting things that has occurred to us as we were looking through the companies that are really kicking ass in social is all of them seem to be doing really well on revenue and stock price. So as this chart shows, Amex is just one of the many sort of lead adopters of social that have outperformed standard stock indexes. So we're not sure if it's causal at all, but it was really interesting to see that it was correlated. Companies that are really aggressively doing cool stuff with social also tend to be kicking ass from a financial standpoint as well. So you're motivated, you're seeing companies like Amex and Virgin start to really make money and do well in social. You want to do it too. Here are the four options. We can help with the first three. We're working with social media monitoring companies, including many of the top leaders, working with business analytics companies. We can also help you build your own systems, which sometimes happens. We can't really help with the last option. If you want to just kind of stick your head in the sand, we can't really help with that one. Now, if you are going to build your own system, how many of you out there have thought about within your company the possibility of building your own internal applications using social? Hopefully some of you. Well, those of you that are probably going to get promoted. So anyway, the first big challenge you'll find, massive amount of data. I think that, certainly when we heard the keynote earlier today, we were talking about levels of data that's bigger than what's on social, but social is still pretty big, as you can see by the number of users. You're really faced with a bunch of really tough questions. Are you going to invest a lot in infrastructure? How are you going to ingest all this data? How are you going to contract all these deals? So before we existed, companies had to spend months and months to get up and running, very unsophisticated filtering on top of this data. Huge investments in getting started and in infrastructure. With us, you can get started in minutes rather than months on building social or apps or platforms that use social media data. The core of what we do is really a social media console where you can actually come on and create filters to pull in just the information that you need. This is the really ugly, gnarly infrastructure diagram that shows a little bit of what we've built to actually manage these massive data sets. To give you an example, we map 330 million tweets produced every day on Twitter, roughly, with 100 million cloud scores, and that's just getting started in real time. We've had large amounts of momentum so far. Actually, our real customer number is several times higher than this. So we're seeing just a huge influx from a variety of different sectors. Here are some of them. Since I've only got about 30 seconds, I'm not going to go into the actual examples, but we've just been blown away with the amount of different uses that different companies are having with social. We typically work with companies on kind of a SaaS-based monthly service model. Here's some of the tiers. We're obsessed with customers. We've built a team, both an executive team as well as a board of director team that is obsessed with serving customers and helping them figure out how to use social strategically. And to get started with us, you can email our VP of Sales. His email's up there. We offer a free 60-minute consultation, and sometimes that stretches to a few days on working with companies to actually determine how to get the most use out of social in the company.
That's your VP of Sales right there? It's a good-looking name. I'm just saying, as long as salespeople, we're talking about good-looking salespeople, the names have to be good-looking.
A lot better looking than I am.
Okay. Well, Rob, good job. All right. Way to go. All right, so we'll go in reverse order. Paul.